In a time where we're told by 100 different places, 100 different ways to be a man, I believe one of the best sources for that particular information can be found in the iconic Lord of the Rings trilogy. Now, there are many great examples of inspirational men in these movies, but I'm going to focus on two seemingly polar opposites that, in my opinion, are two sides of the same coin. That coin being the man I strive to be, Aragorn and Samwise Gamgee. One a king, the other a gardener. On the surface, Aragorn seems like your stereotypical male power fantasy protagonist. He's beautiful, capable in just about every scenario, a great warrior, and the chicks dig him. But when you take a closer look at Aragorn, you find out he's actually much deeper than that. He is a bit of a pussy. No, he actually isn't at all, but he does spend much of his life running away from a life that was scripted out for him long before he got a chance to decide that life for himself. Many men can relate to having a dream right there in front of you, but the flow of time forcing you into a life of responsibility where you need to provide for yourself and your loved ones, following that same script set out for all of us long before we were born. You painfully then watch those dreams of yours slip away, replaced by forgotten days. Aragorn isn't even afraid of the politics of the role, it's more of what he himself will turn into with it. He shares the blood of Isildur, the king who could have ended the evil of Sauron forever, but gave in to greed instead. Afraid he may make the same mistake, Aragorn says, "I do not want that power," and tries to help out people in all the other ways he can instead. We live in a time where many of the world's most powerful men do horrible shit. Let's call a spade a spade. If we knew exactly what was going on behind closed doors in those billionaire parties, we probably wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Men who get into the game trying to make a positive change can easily and often be corrupted by the power of the almighty dollar, and also the power of power. There are certain files floating around at the moment that one could use as a major example of this. Most of us probably think we could do better with this power, but I imagine it is way easier said than done. In an effort to maintain power, we see many men turn into grifters on the way down from fame, causing pain on people less fortunate than themselves in an effort to keep the bills flooding in. Aragorn's equivalent is the Ring of Power. When Boromir tries to take the ring for himself, Aragorn sees how easily good men fall to its temptation, and it terrifies him. He isn't afraid of leading men, he's afraid of becoming the kind of king who leads them into ruin. Otherwise, he could have taken control much earlier in the story, commanding armies as the rightful heir to the throne of Gondor. Instead, he holds back and leads through guidance rather than command, showing strength through restraint. In the Battle of Helm's Deep, Aragorn's shouting orders not because he's in charge, but because he's the most experienced in the room. He then shows off that experience firsthand by being instrumental in the defense of Hornburg Fortress, saving countless lives in the process. Aragorn becomes the person he was meant to be without the title, showing him that maybe he wouldn't be too bad as king after all. Even though it was the last thing in the world he wanted, when people needed him, Aragorn did what he feared most and led people to their safety time and again. Finally, he steps into the position of king, not for his glory, but for his people. His masculinity is responsibility, stepping into who you're meant to be, not because it's glamorous, but because people are counting on you. He leads by example, not command. Aragorn taught me that in the face of unwanted responsibilities, I need to rise to the challenges rather than avoid them, especially when there are people counting on me. He also taught me that being a man isn't about having power, it's about how you carry the power you have. Where Aragorn shows the strength of a king, Sam shows the strength of a friend. Sam's masculinity isn't about swords or brawn, it's about loyalty, and the most stubborn kind. Men will often feel threatened when their friends succeed, maybe feeling left behind and just plain jealous. I believe this jealousy can be a good thing when used as fuel to push you to try and catch up, so that both of you can succeed together. Sam knows Frodo will be known as the hero from the story, but also can see how Frodo succeeding will protect himself and his friends. His friend's game is his own game. He promises he won't leave Frodo, and he never does, even when he has every reason to. Even when Gollum gets Frodo to turn on him, he pushes forward, following his friend. He cries, he fears, but he never wavers. He keeps walking. He proves that emotion isn't weakness, it's fuel. Sam teaches a version of manhood that the world doesn't often celebrate: service, kindness, and devotion, carrying someone else's burden literally and metaphorically without ever asking for recognition. Sometimes you need to give up the spotlight to a friend or a teammate, and that's okay. If you help them get to where they are, you still are succeeding through them. And if you keep showing that kindness to the world, someday people will succeed through you. When you think of masculinity in the Lord of the Rings, it's easy to have your mind race to Aragorn's speeches, but man, it's Sam who lifts Frodo onto his back and drops the most badass, beautiful, amazing, iconic line of the whole trilogy. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. That line is masculinity in its purest form. No pride, no ego, just love. loyalty, and perseverance. Sam showed me that being a man doesn't mean being unbreakable, it means being breakable and still choosing to stand back up. Aragorn teaches us that a man must be willing to lead, not for himself, but for the sake of others, while Sam teaches us that a man must be willing to follow, also for the sake of others. Aragorn shows the courage to accept destiny, Sam shows the courage to remain loyal and faithful in the hardest of times. One wears a crown leading thousands, the other carries a frying pan to cook for himself and his friend. Both are heroic, both are necessary. Between a king and a gardener, I learned that being a man is less about conquering others and more about conquering your own selfishness.